Hey,
Uh,
not much. Live. We are live. We are live. Yeah, thanks for filling those in. Boy, the first spelling of reference was rough. I don't know what you got going on there.
I don't know. I'm off. Today has been an off day for me.
Oh, gotcha.
Everywhere.
Reference. It's okay. That's what spell check's for.
I don't know what you're talking about. Earpiece. So I'm kind of confused on that.
So I'm a little confused about that.
I took it as it was an ear tick.
This is an ear tick. Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, the last time he saw that droid, he started doing it again. It's only when he's like annoyed or anxious.
Cause he did it at the whatever it was, Senate or whatever it's called.
Yep.
Actually, don't know
Senate-ish.
what Senate-ish, right? Because it's different.
Right.
Is it supposed to be the same
I don't
building?
know. No, that's not the same Senate building. That's something else.
Yeah. Right, because
one more day of work, and then I don't have to think about work until Sunday night.
I mean, at this point, we don't really know. So from the outside, you could tell it was a different building.
Yeah, you could see. It looked like it was like standing on it looked like, I don't know, a ball in the air. Just kind of, you could walk up to it. And Senate building was a big dome.
Gotcha.
But I don't think, maybe they're not using it because of the taintage of it.
Yeah.
They needed something new.
Right. Okay. I mean, yeah.
It was a good episode, though.
Right.
Very well put together. I like how
Indeed.
Mando and Bo-Katan and Grogu in the beginning, then you get this whole different story happening.
Yeah.
Then you get them at the
Right. Yes. It's a rule of threes. Okay. Good to go?
I think so.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. In 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to Disnerds Plus, where we talk about your favorite nerdy shows on Disney Plus. This is episode number 30. Kind of a big number. This is for the Mandalorian, number 19, The Convert, for Wednesday, March 15th, 2023, the day after Pi Day. I'm Shane.
Hey, I'm Mike.
Hello, Mike. How are you?
Hi. Good. Good.
Yeah, just turning it up a little bit there.
A little lost there for a second.
Yeah, I was like, why is your volume was lower for some reason? I always have to adjust Discord for whatever reason. But that's okay, because I end up running the podcast. I gave up on like the levels and I just run it through through Levelator at the end and just auto levels everything, which is nice.
Well, that's really nice.
Yeah, but if you're watching the video on Twitch, you're out of luck. The volume level is what it is there.
That's the live stuff.
Yeah. So, I suppose we should talk about previously on The Mandalorian. We had Peli, we were brought back to Peli, Amy Sedaris' character, who was trying to swindle a Rodian over there on Tatooine.
Good old
And
Tatooine.
Mando...
Never going to go away.
Yeah, no. It's here forever. I mean, it kind of has to. If they ever blew up Tatooine, that would be a travesty right there. But yeah, the Mando was not having any luck finding that part, and even with his I guess he had to settle on the droid, the red droid, as I think Luke originally called it. He was just calling it red. That was
R5 something.
D4, I think.
Probably. That sounds about right.
Oh yeah, or a familiar droid of sorts. They were taking that to going to take him to he or she to Mandalore, and I don't know if that's interesting. Do they ever call R2 or 3PO they refer to him that way? I don't know, but another droid was causing some issues for Mando and Grogu over there on Mandalore. Droid, in quotes, because I don't know what the heck that thing was. It looked more like a weird, like one of those crazy things from Transformers, like that. The movie, I should say, not the
not the TV show.
Like the first movie, there's that weird little like animated Transformer thing. I don't know.
Oh, that little one that's like terrorizing them.
Yeah, reminded me of that. Or it was closer to. I mean, in the Star Wars universe, yeah, I think I mentioned last time the closest thing it reminded me of was what's his face? Not Grogu.
Yes, Grogu for
sure. Grievous, or one of his guards or something like that. But he winds up in some trouble there and needs the help of Grogu. Needs to go rush and put the ship on autopilot to find Bo-Katan, and so once they get back there, she leads. She leads him, but it's really the other way around. Grogu is leading. Well, Grogu led her to find him, and then ultimately, she led both of them to the living waters, and that's when they bathed in the living waters. Then he somehow got pulled down to the bottom. She had to lift him up, and along the way, presumably saw a mythosaur.
Did he get pulled down, or did he just? I mean, did he already fall? Because like once he fell in,
I mean, he was already in the water. I see your point. Like it was a drop off. Maybe he just. But why would he? Is it the armor's just that heavy or something? Like that he just gets pulled down?
It's strong, so if it's strong, maybe it is heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, not really sure there because the mythosaur. Presumably that's what we saw. I mean, clearly that's what we saw.
Oh yeah, that's what we saw. That
definitely mythosaur. But which apparently was legend that that the living waters was once a lair of the mythosaur, and I think it was.
It is again.
I think it was in this episode that they kind of explained. So yeah, this one starts out back in I put lair. I mean that's what it was.
Yeah.
Legend to be the living waters,
or the living waters layer, whatever you want to call it.
But he said he is redeemed, and so the work is done here. Except he does take a vial of water from the pool as proof, as he did say he would bring proof back to the armorer.
I did find it interesting how Bo-Katan asked him if he saw anything.
Mm-hmm. Right, because she almost didn't believe her own eyes.
I don't know if she's But she didn't say if she said anything, so that's like, why is she keeping that to herself?
She is in denial, I think, because she, was convinced that was all legend. And
well, here's another reason why I think that Mando fell in instead of got pulled down, because she did mention that the bombs must have changed or had some seismic effect to it.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say too. Was her mentioning of that. Well, to me, meant that that opened up potentially wherever the mythosaurs were living.
Explain two things at once.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That. If no one saw them, as long as Mandalorians were on Mandalore, as far as, but then again, legend starts somewhere, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true.
So then they head for space.
Space.
So they're in.
So much of it.
They are at this point in Bo-Katan's ship. Which is, do you know what kind of ship that is? It's a cool looking ship, I gotta say.
It's a Mandalorian ship.
Yeah, sure.
I know that.
Makes sense. But then they're attacked. Attack!
By a bunch of
TIE interceptors.
Yep.
Not to be confused with your generic ass TIE fighters. No, sir.
Oh no, these got so Bo-Katan's ship is called the Gauntlet.
Nice. Cool name.
It was a Comric class fighter transport that was used by Bo-Katan Kryze, leader of the Mandalorian Night Owls.
Oh yeah, so the Night Owl thing, so that's mentioned in this episode.
Yep.
Was this post? Obviously, this is post Death Watch, and they.
Yeah, she was in Death Watch. Then she left Death Watch and made her own little thing, or group, or tribe, or whatever you want to call it, Night Owls.
And was that in any of the animated series?
I believe Rebels. Maybe at the end of Clone Wars.
So they call it out in the show as Night Owls.
Yep.
But so the group that we see in season 2 of The Mandalorian, are they considered Night Owls still?
I think so. They had the sigils, I think.
Yeah, I guess that's on her helmet. But yeah. So so they're attacked by these things, and Mando has to go for the gunner in the back, or has to be the gunner in the back, and start taking some of them out. Once they get to get back, they're coming in hot on, dang it, Kalevala. I think that's
Kavala.
Kalevala.
Kalevala.
I'm gonna start with that every time. But so coming in hot, and just enough for Mando to jump off onto the platform, onto a ship, or not onto a ship, into a ship. Gets in the ship.
I thought he was gonna run into one of the interceptors.
Yeah,
that would have been cool if you threw a bomb at one of them while he was flying through them.
Yep. Didn't get a chance to do that, but he did. He did soar upward, high into the atmosphere, and then
this is N1. By the way, not.
Yes.
Oh no.
Well, that was bound to happen at some point.
Yep, I gotta get a stand thing. Sorry.
But so he does manage to take out one of them. Well, I guess he plummets back down first, and then manages to take one out. And then Bo-Katan's going through the. It's funny because I wrote down Bo here, and then I noticed in this shortly after that he starts calling her Bo as well. I don't think, or maybe he had. I didn't hear him say that before, but it's just easier to say Bo.
Yeah, it is.
So she starts
quick action,
flying through kind of a canyon on the planet, and manages to. I think she takes out like 2 of them at this point, and it's like there's like 6 total. And
so I know one ran into the canyon.
Well, that one took care of itself. Okay. Mando takes out another one, and then so they're down to 2, and then I think they each end up.
She does a pretty cool move with hers, like makes the wings kind of like flip around and flips her old.
That was really why. That was where I really was like, okay, this ship's pretty neat. Yeah, it does a cool little wing.
And it just shot down the tie, and that was it. And then bombs started bombing off.
Yep, then we see some TIE bombers. They just destroy her castle or her home. And so she starts going after, takes out, I don't know if it's a torpedo or whatever, she shoots at one of them. Takes out one of those TIE bombers, and then Djarin immediately on the radar sees there's just way too many coming. She's like, warns her.
Gotta go.
Away. Take them. We gotta go, yeah. So takes her a couple seconds to realize that as well. So they fly off, head for off of the planet, and then Mando
places unknown
decides he's going to jump. So this is so he sends her jump coordinates, I guess is what happens. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't know where, but just somewhere they're not going to be able to find them is all we know at this point.
And the Empire can't follow.
Yeah.
Kind of, maybe.
Right. So then the next scene is very unexpected, I thought. We get to see Coruscant. And so I'm thinking, oh my God, they're going to Coruscant, which, I'm thinking like if they're going there, yeah, maybe, that kind of makes sense because the Empire, or what's remaining of the Empire, is not going to be going there at this point.
Yeah.
But
basically just the New Republic and whatnot.
Right. That is not in fact the case. We see in some sort of a Senate building different from what we see in previous movies and shows, but because it's more of a whatever you call it, stadium seating, I guess you'd call it. And there be Dr. Pershing, which we haven't seen him since season 1, I believe. Because he was.
We saw him season 2 at the end, the last, like it's like the second to last episode, or the last episode where they caught him in his shuttle.
Okay.
And then got some deets on Moff Gideon's cruiser.
Right. So he's well, at least in season 1, he was working with I would like to see the baby guy.
Werner Herzog?
There we go. Yes.
I think he was working for Moff Gideon, though, so.
Sure. Yeah. Well, he's in the same vicinity as him initially, and then, I guess he's working for him. They're both kind of working for him, right?
Yeah.
Werner Herzog also. But
so. Yeah.
So he's speaking to this Senate on the Senate floor and
council.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking council, but then I'm thinking like the Jedi Council, like which is obviously very different.
Oh yeah, yeah, I suppose.
But
fair enough.
Council maybe works. And we see him. So Mike has informed me that what I thought was an earpiece was maybe just an fidget of some kind, like a nervous tick kind of a thing he had as he's speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But he's speaking of his research and how like he regrets all the things he did for Moff Gideon and everything, but at the same
The
time,
Empire.
yeah, but at the same time, he's talking about cloning and the benefits of it, and that he thinks there's real.
I think this stuff all ties back to the other show that's on Bad Batch right now.
Oh, really?
But I'm not going to say much about that because spoiler.
Nice. So
cloning is a big thing lately in these shows.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
So they're he's talking about how the how you say it, Camoans, Camonians. I think it's
Camonians. I can't. I could say it. Kaminoans. There it is. Kaminoans. I had to think about it. Kaminoans.
Good job. So anyway, he's talking about how they made great strides with that and everything with cloning, and there's just 3 big hologram DNA strands up on the hologram projector, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the gist of his big speech, and then outside this building that they're in, he's got all these guys around him, including the one of the what do they call them? What is it?
Senators.
Well, sure.
Calamari.
Probably all. Yeah, exactly.
Calamari.
One of them being who seemed like overly sweaty or something for some reason. I think maybe they're just going for a more like this is actually what they look like. If they're like a fish people, they have a natural gleam to them, maybe.
Slimy,
right?
look.
Yeah, exactly. Which that makes sense. Anyway, so him and a few others are talking to him, kind of like congratulating him on this Amnesty Program.
Sounds like a program to rehabilitate. Is what it is.
Right, people that once were part of the Empire, and so yeah, they're kind of congratulating him and everything there, and he winds up on, I guess like a taxi or limo, sky taxi service.
Sure. Yeah.
And a droid.
One of those things.
Droid is driving that and talking to him about that he's going to the amnesty housing and everything, and asking him if he's been to anywhere in the city yet, and of course he hasn't at this point. Well, maybe it's not obvious, but he hasn't at this point. So he gets to the amnesty housing, and then right away he's greeted by one of the members there and asks to join them for a drink, and there's like 4 of them there, and they're all being introduced by numbers, or a letter and a number, which is
like weird.
It is weird. Very like seems, yeah, because it's like clones or whatever.
It's like clones, yeah. It's like they don't have an identity after being in the Empire.
Right. So they introduce themselves that way, and he's got his own like L-52 or whatever it was, but
yeah.
And he recognizes. So there's 2 things they pointed out in the recap. One of which was showing Dr. Pershing, and the other of which was showing this officer that was on Moff Gideon's ship that we see is one of these Amnesty members, and they so Pershing recognizes her right away and he didn't know that, anyone from Moff Gideon's ship was there. But they get to talking about what they miss from being part of the Empire, and they're like, oh, not like that, not like, not saying anything about it was good, but what do you actually miss? And he goes on to say he misses the travel biscuits. And
good old travel biscuits. Can't go anywhere without those travel biscuits.
Right. So he then they get to laughing. I thought so. This is like one of the scenes I notice that I feel like the new Star Wars, or the modern Star Wars, is I thought this was a good example of how the acting has really improved, because it was like, to me, it felt like a pretty believable scene of like they're all like laughing in a natural manner, and it seemed the interactions were naturalistic
Genuine.
and everything, which I got to applaud them for that, and Jon Favreau and whomever directed this episode. I didn't catch, but they
do a pretty good job on these.
Indeed,
for sure.
So then he's in his quarters and notices on the, so he's got like a radio where it's listening to something that, and then they talk about, he talks about how Coruscant is a ecumenopolis, I guess.
Yeah, it's like the planet is basically one big city.
Indeed.
Like that.
That's the first time I'd heard that term. I'm sure that's not a real. Wait, actually, it's not corrected. Maybe that is a real term. It didn't. Let's see. What got? Why not in here? I'll take a 2-piece and some travel biscuits. It's from Greek. I guess it's a real word. The hypothetical concept of a planet-wide city. Oh, I guess they didn't come up with that then. It's on Wikipedia. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, because Isaac Asimov used it for Galactic Empire. Well, there we go. So then his doorbell rings and no one's there. He looks down. There's a metal box. Opens that up, and he's got them travel biscuits in there.
Big old box of travel biscuits.
Yeah. So, first sign of a nice gesture from a secret admirer, maybe. Obviously, it had to be one of the people that heard him talk about travel biscuits, which was only so many options there. But so then we see him at the old office, and they have kind of cubicles there. So this is actually. I did recently, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I did recently finally got through Andor, and I'll just say that there's something similar in that, where they basically got like space cubicles. So this seemed like a similar scene, even though it's obviously a different time period, but
similar.
Yeah. So then we hear something in there about Happy Bendu Day. I guess his coworker that walks by mentions Happy Bendu Day, which, yes, as you noted in here, is a reference from Star Wars Rebels, because the Bendu are featured in there, or at least a Bendu. Is that how you'd say
the Bendu?
The Bendu. Okay. Yeah.
Or the one in the middle.
Very interesting character.
Basically like a gray character.
Yeah. Very interesting. But so there's only one then?
That's as far as I know.
Isn't it also kind of though where like Rey winds up, or where Ahsoka kind of almost is now, like in the middle?
Yeah, I think Grogu is going to be in the middle as well.
Sure.
I think it's going to be like a whole new thing.
Right.
Which
that kind of the thing
maybe
wasn't I thought like Rey's lightsaber at the end was like yellow or something like that.
It was. So it was.
Which Yeah, because like there's some old Republic games or something where isn't that also like a yellow lightsaber is featured in there at some point?
Believe so.
Something along
There
those
is
lines.
yeah, there is something.
Yeah, I've only really seen cutscenes. I haven't necessarily even played whatever game that was from, but yeah. So anyway, I guess it's Bendu Day, which is just another, which we just so it's just a new holiday every episode apparently because we just had whatever Eve the last one. What was it again? Something
What was that?
Eve.
Punta
Eve.
Eve. Punta Eve.
Boonta Eve.
Punta Eve.
And now it's Bendu
Tatum.
Day. Just going through all the holidays. If they bring up Life Day, it's gonna be people are gonna have a field day with that one. But I guess that's a Wookiee holiday. So so at first, so this guy, so his coworker drops off what I thought were biscuits again right away. As they looked at like a similar shape, but I think there's some kind of chip, right? Or
Yeah, they weren't the same thing. They were I think they were archived data that he was supposed to destroy.
sure.
I thought that too. I was like, what is he got a big thing of cookies there you gotta eat? What the hell is going
Well,
on?
I thought he had a big thing, and then the droid drops off some more, and I'm like, wow, he's really like trying to hoard these things. But it's just a lot of busy. It's just more work he's got to do, I guess. But so the next scene, we are in like a town square of some kind, or like maybe it's more of a like a fair,
Looked like a
or
carnival
something.
at one.
Yeah, a carnival
Yeah,
kind of a thing.
it was
So
weird.
so it's him and this former officer of Gideon's, who at this point is unnamed, really. Well, maybe she was named in the previous season, but we don't find out her name until the end of this one. At least it's not mentioned until all we get is her letter number combination up until this point. But they're both having this glowing like ice cream on a stick or like snow cone type of thing.
Yeah, those were neat. I'm like, where I wonder if what is it, the Disney parks are gonna do something to make it ice cream glow.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Like, I
That'll
wonder
be
how
real
that's gonna
easy
work.
because the blue and green milk at Galaxy's Edge is already kind of like that because it is kind of, for whatever reason, they made it kind of icy, so it wouldn't be that much of a stretch. But
Interesting.
yeah, at least
Still
from what
haven't
I
got. I
remember.
still have to go there.
I know it's great.
But it's expensive, I hear.
Yeah, I mean Disney's like $100 to get into one park, I think. But so yeah, so they're having that. She mentions his is dripping or melting or whatever, and as they're walking through this carnival, there we see like a magician, we see a droid, a juggling droid like on stilts, I guess.
Yeah. Quite. That's why I thought it was like a carnival or something, or a fair.
Right. Makes sense. So she's talking to him about, that she thinks he should continue his research despite, it being, against the rules or what they're not. She says, well, it's not really, this isn't the Empire. Like you kind of convincing him that he should pursue it. And they get to the Peak of Umate, or I'm gonna say that's how that's pronounced.
Sure.
Which is so. This I thought was really cool because you always think of it as just being a city planet, but you don't think about the terrain below it, underneath the surface, or underneath all these buildings. And I thought that was a really cool idea. To say, hey, there actually are mountains. This isn't just a completely flat planet. And she convinces him to try to touch the peak of this mountain. And of course, this droid comes around and says, stay away. and then
Picks up
causes
his
him
ice cream and takes it away.
Yeah, causes him to drop it, and then the droid also says, "No, let her." And of course, she gets a good chuckle out of that. Ha ha ha! You've really pranked him a good one there. But then we go back to the old Amnesty housing, and we've got a droid in a, it's almost like interview style, but it's basically just a survey that the droid's
Yeah, it's just
giving him.
It gave me Blade Runner vibes.
Oh yeah, sure. There's a lot of there's a few things about this episode that actually gave me Blade Runner vibes, and part of that is I think because it's Coruscant. That was a big thing of it. Like, there's a lot of things about Coruscant that I think are Blade Runner inspired, probably in the first place.
That's true.
And yeah, so he does ask a question once the droid's done asking the questions, which his answer is no to everything, which is basically like many surveys I think people fill out are often just like repeating the same no after over and over.
Yes. No.
He doesn't have any issues. And I thought this is kind of funny. So his question is about his research, going back to his research, and they talk about how the cloning would be prohibited by the Coruscant Accords, which sure that reminds you of something.
Sokovia Accords.
Yeah, just another Disney property. Like, I feel like there's a lot of inspiration from one to the next.
See that a little bit. I mean, Accords, but Accords is also, that is a thing that governments use as calling,
sure,
like certain declarations, whatnot.
Right.
I don't know what the whole gist of why it's called an accord, but
we have an accord. That wasn't perfect.
There's a reason for political thing, documentations up for everything.
Mm-hmm. I think that was something in Pirates of the Caribbean, even.
Well, they say,
accord.
You have an accord?
Yeah, do we have an accord?
You have an accord?
Yep. It's an agreement, basically, right?
Basically, but an accord like Sokovia Accords with a bunch of countries agreeing to the same measures.
Right. So, yeah, after that, he's like, okay, all right. He skimpers off. No. But so after he walks out of the droid survey questionnaire, we've got that same officer, which again I don't exactly know what to call her at this point, but she's asking.
Comms officer.
The what?
Just comms officer.
Comms, or I guess they referred to her as in this case what amnesty officer or whatever, but.
Or yeah, you did that too.
So she's asking him what he needs to continue his research, and he's talking about the lab things, various mobile lab components, and then I noticed she's slowly kind of convincing him to continue to just do it, to just go for it and get these items, and I thought this was interesting because we hear kind of like both starts off kind of like this dark sort of drumming music, but
to a lighter tone.
Yeah, it kind of goes to a lighter tone as she's convincing him more. And they both kind of are simultaneously playing, which now the more I think about it, like this being around Bendu Day, it kind of makes sense. It's like right in the middle, like, but that I'm sure this is a way to sort of express the conflict of like good and evil or dark and light, in this particular case. But
if you put dark and light together, you get a gray.
Indeed.
In the middle. Everything's in the middle.
So back at the office, he notices that I think it's his old data from the Empire is being or his archive data from the Empire is flagged for deletion, basically.
I think they're just deleting all Imperial data.
And
they're just trying to get all these, like, that's why that's basically his work, is just deleting archival data.
Right. And he's trying to make the point that this is data that could be useful to the New Republic and everything. And I'm getting kind of vibes of, I don't know about you, but I got vibes of like what medically was learned from the Nazis kind of a thing, like whether or not to,
that was kind of like, there was definitely essence of that. Like, I mean, even Amnesty is like, especially with Pershing as a scientist, like Operation, what do they call that? Operation Paperclip or whatever it was called back, where they took all the scientists and people that could help better the United States in their run against Soviets and
sure
kind of thing.
In this case, yeah, it's
like
it's a moral dilemma kind of a thing, I guess. But yeah, so like the guy he's talking, I think it's the same coworker from the previous scene at the office, maybe.
Yeah, that, like, the guy that just hands out the archive data to be destroyed.
He's talking about, so he's, asking more questions to him about, just kind of like, just to ask the questions, whether or not there would be a case for not having this deleted. And he's like, well, you could fill out this form, but I've never even heard of basically someone in his position filling out one of those forms if it was even possible.
Amnesty officer.
Right. So he just kind of sloughs it off and says, forget about it at this point. So then...
starting to get a little irritated, I think.
Oh, yeah. So back at the housing, and he's taking another survey with the droid, and then, again, I thought, for some reason I'm thinking, it doesn't make any sense that he would have an earpiece. It's a nervous tick he's got where he just kind of touches his ear when he's nervous, I guess.
When he is nervous.
Yeah. So he goes back to the officer lady and talks about getting that mobile lab station. And this is the thing I noticed. So I put in here about the music or sound effect that's played here. Well, it's music, but it's kind of like a digital didgeridoo kind of a sound. But I think it's the third time I really remember hearing it. It's either that or it's just this like low, like almost vocal rumbling. But it's first time I remember hearing it was when Anakin and Palpatine were talking at that theater. When he's telling him the tale of...
I know it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He's telling him the tale of what's his face? The Wise. Plagueis.
Darth Plagueis.
Yep. The second time, I believe, is the first time we see Snoke in Force Awakens. Similar sound, which was why they were kind of, at the time, I think, almost alluding to it being somehow related to Plagueis or Palpatine at that time. But yeah, this reminded me very much of that. And I think, well, I guess in the case where you see, I don't remember what planet they're on. I guess that wouldn't have been on Coruscant, obviously. But yeah, so I don't know if that's intentional or not, but certainly reminiscent to me anyway. But so then we see him kind of in the mirror telling him, trying to convince himself that this is the right thing to do. And they go off
as every scientist does.
As what?
As every scientist does.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I suppose. Then they go off into the big city, which I guess they never left the big city, but it's they go off into the
big city.
More Yeah, populated part of the city, maybe. And so they're walking through. It's like the downtownish. I don't know what what part of it is they're in exactly, but they're going to the train station, or tram station, whatever you want to call the thing. But so they're walking through, and they get to one of those gates you got to pass through. I guess you need a ticket or something at this point.
Oh, yeah, some kind of ticket to get in,
And
I think.
I guess they don't have money to pay for it or something. But
I don't know. That was weird. Like, why don't they have to sneak in? Like, that doesn't make sense. But
yeah, they didn't have credits. I'm not sure. But so all she does is
no.
hold her boot when somebody goes through it. Puts her boot in front of it so the door reopens, and then they go through no problem, which is like, wow,
Good security.
really secure, really solid way of doing that. They get on this train, and she looks at this big, hairy alien, and
oh yeah,
Tongs days. Am I right? It's just like, what the hell? Never before. I don't think we've heard of names of days.
Is it like a Wednesday?
Well, you think it would be Monday or something, but yeah, looks like someone's going to taste the
It'd be funny
moon
if they said
days.
Tongs Day because it would be funny because I mean Mandalorian comes out on Wednesday, so clever.
Yeah, who knows? I have to look. Actually, I am curious if, like, was this previously? Do we have names of days in Star Wars? I guess so. Tongs Day.
I don't
is the
know.
third day of the week. Now, is that based on a calendar? Is that based on because our calendar is technically Wednesdays would be the fourth day of the week since Sundays are first on the calendar, but I don't know. Third day of the week. Yeah, sure. The day was named for the Tongs, a species that once lived on the planet Coruscant. Okay, So what are the other days? I want to know. Appearances: The Mandalorian, Chapter 19, The Convert, first appearance.
They haven't named the other days yet.
Sources: Star Wars Build the Millennium Falcon 61, Guide to the Galaxy, Galactic Time and Dates. Oh, okay. Well, I want to learn more about other days. Write us and let us know if you know.
Sure, they're gonna make
a bunch of stuff. So they're moving along on this train, and obviously hover train. Everything hovers in Star Wars. Well, almost everything, but everything on Coruscant anyway. So he's enjoying the spectacle that is the city of Coruscant, the city planet, the city, both. But he's seeing the pretty lights and the flying vehicles go by and everything, and
they all fly.
She informs him that they are going to the disposal yards to pick up some old Imperial parts.
Hey, do you want to know the day of the week?
Oh, you found him? Yes, I would love to.
1 through 5. So Prime Day.
Okay, that's something else on Earth.
Syntax Day, Tongues Day, Zell Day, and Bendu Day.
Oh, what? So Bendu Day is like Friday? That's why?
Yeah. Apparently to this, yeah.
Okay.
Some locals have other names, but Saturday, I don't see Saturday.
There's
Sunday.
no weekends?
It's only a 5-day a week. Keep working.
Yeah, oh gosh, if that's the case. Oof.
I'm not part of that galaxy.
It's interesting when they try to like incorporate this kind of stuff, but then I notice in other things like certain time they talk about minutes and talk about Earth time, but anyway, but it makes sense. They got to use things like obviously they're speaking English. They have to use things that we can relate to.
Yeah.
But then they go back sorry, I'm going on a tangent here, but they go back into like some of the special editions and they replace like numbers with, like weird digits or something, weird glyphs, right? Like on the TIE fighters and things. But then if you look in Andor, they have just kind of like a different font, but it's still like our numbers, like. So
Yeah.
I don't know. They can't make
It's
up their mind.
weird. It's weird.
Yeah. So they're going to. So all of a sudden, remember they're going into town to pick up some power converters or whatever. Tashi Station. No, they're going to the disposal yards to get these Imperial parts for his lab parts, lab components. But
yes.
Then they see some droids walk in to check for tickets, which are like, whoa, well, we don't have those.
Oh no, no tickets, no tickets.
Which gave me a vibe of Indiana Jones, where they're on the blimp.
Sure did.
You too.
Yeah.
So then they are. Then they go from one to the next. They kind of have to jump from one car to the next because there's no.
Droids don't have to do that. They just have controls to bring up platforms.
Yeah, exactly. As we noticed immediately after, they go from one car to the next. Droids keep coming. They keep going from one car to the next. Do this about 3 times. And then
Pershing says a stupid line.
What was that?
It said Pershing says something dumb.
Oh, yeah. The same thing that she did the Tongs days, am I right? Yeah, same line. Let's just say it to someone in one of those cars. But then they get to the end of the line, end of the train, and she convinces him to jump. So takes her hand and they jump for it, which I'm thinking, like, depending on how fast this thing is going, there's no way they would have survived that. But
how do they even time that to land on something soft? I'm like,
yeah.
Really? That was, I mean, unless you're a Jedi.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean,
or a Sith.
To be fair, I did notice. I mean, I wondered at the beginning. I know Mando's got his armor, his Beskar and everything, but like, I guess he did fall from a ship going a very fast speed. So it's Star Wars. I don't know. It's not only is it fictional, it's science fantasy fiction, like
science fiction.
Yeah. But yeah, so they do make it. So they make it into the shipyard or the I thought they call it both. I thought they said shipyard, but yeah, the disposal yard ultimately, and immediately see an old or a previously used Star Destroyer. Just in the, it's like, wow, that's a hell of a ship to have there. But
I mean, it's in pieces, so it's not really going to go anywhere anymore.
Right. Decommissioned, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
They get to the door. They open the door, and on comes...
As one does.
On comes these flashlight looking, like they're kind of like flashlights. I don't know exactly.
Like little flash sticks.
Yeah, flash sticks. Sure, we'll call them that. You got any flash sticks? And yeah, small. It looked kind of small, but seemed to.
It was interesting.
Light pretty well.
Yeah, sure. How small it was.
And so I wasn't sure. This is one thing. Like, do I even notice it? This is at first I'm questioning, like, is this meant to be significant, or is this just background stuff? And it was background stuff.
I think it was just background stuff. There was a bunch of them. They were walking around. There's little bug rat things with yellow eyes lighting up everywhere.
Whereas in the previous episode, I'm like, when we saw the like creatures down when they first descended into the city, whatever it was called, the city center. When I first saw those, and I'm like, should I write this down? Like, are these significant? And they kind of were, but not that significant. Like, I think
it's native to the planet.
Right.
That's all they were. Same with these things. They're probably just native to Coruscant.
Much
maybe.
Smaller though, seemingly less of a threat. They're like put them down as bug rats. Like that's kind of what they looked like.
That's a good explanation of them.
Pill bug, like a big pill bug with bright green eyes or something. But
Pill bug, nice.
Yeah. So, so they're walking through the ship, and along the way, they he talks about how he must have passed her like numerous times on Gideon's ship and everything, and that's when they finally actually introduce themselves by their real names. She's Elia Kane, communications officer, and that he's Dr. Penn Pershing, scientist.
Penn Pershing.
And I don't know. I keep thinking to myself that he was in like a previous game or book or something, but I might be making that up. I'm probably making that up.
I have not seen him in anything besides this or heard his name.
Sure. Yeah. Appearances, affiliations. Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't even think Pershing was a thing until the Mandalore.
Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, so they introduce themselves, and then they move on to they get to the door where the lab is. Open that up, and there's get in there. He's like all excited. He's talking about how he kind of always dreamed of being in a lab like this. And I guess both in this scene and a previous scene, he talked about his mother who had passed away, I think, and
yep, from something heart related, and he's like saying how something about cloning and how it could have saved her,
right,
if it was available.
Like the way he was describing it, I had these vibes of Padme for a second, like this is like he's somehow related to Luke and Leia or something here, but different mother for sure. Obviously, because we didn't. Yeah, spoiler. She doesn't make it after she has those two kids. But so he's around. He's in the lab. They're collecting the items he needs, the various test tubes and whatnots, into a, I don't know how else to describe it, suitcase of some kind.
Yeah, it was some kind of like kit.
Yeah.
Storage thing. I don't know.
And then we start hearing some clattering in the background, off in the distance, and she was suspect. She was pretty sus up until this point, because even like in the previously on at the beginning of the recap, the last we saw her, she kind of had like something that Gideon said to her first that caused her to kind of like be like, "You can count on me, sir," or whatever. Like,
yeah, it was interesting. I was like, she's up to something.
Oh, absolutely.
I just feel it
from the beginning. So she says, "Oh, that's probably nothing. She says, probably the ship's settling." And he takes what he needs, and they head out. And right away, we're hearing more clattering and see some lights kind of off, and the next past the next door, and so they start running the other direction. And when they get outside, they are immediately confronted by various. I guess there's like a helicopter almost up above, and some officers down below that proceed to arrest him. And then she steps out in front, looks at him, and you can tell she's with them. And that she's in on it.
I didn't see that coming. I was like, wait.
No, yeah, that didn't really add up. But I think if she's an officer, I maybe I don't know exactly what
officer.
That doesn't mean she's a police officer, I guess.
She's an amnesty officer.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know what that means yet.
Right.
We'll see.
They arrest him, but the weird part is that she's still got this kit, like, and nobody's taking it from her, which is maybe she's just treating it like evidence at this point or something.
Could be, and taking it to her superior.
So yeah, they take him to this, I guess, interrogation sort of facility. Or that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I would say.
But he wakes up in this contraption that, you know, he keeps calling a mind flare, like was referenced earlier in the episode. Because that was one of the techniques for former.
Oh, it's like either pulls data or erases your memories.
Which is something that name at least is featured in Stranger Things as well. Very different thing, but
yeah. It's also in Rogue One, but it's an actual creature that connects to the pilot's head.
Moogalet.
Yep.
I couldn't help but say that when I don't think it's a spoiler to say that Saw Gerrera pops up in Andor also. I mean, he pops up in like every one of the animated series also. He always looks different in every scene because he's like aging so rapidly, it seems like. But he
next week he'll be 20 years old.
Yeah, like faster than Obi-Wan aging, but was it a droid that he's talking to? Like he's trying to like convince the free, or no? Was it a human guy?
No, it was a calamari. Mount Calamari was in there. He says it's a trap. Like,
I know. I noticed that.
We're like, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
he did it.
Yeah, he's like talking about it's a mind flare, and the Mon Calamari guy's like, it's similar, but this is actually quite nice. Like I had it done, and it was.
It's not torture. It's not a trap. It's pleasant.
Right. Yeah, he talks about it was quite peaceful, or pleasing, I guess. And
he looked happy when it turned on. It was turned on. Like,
yeah, he looked all right. He's looking at the guy trying to like, no, she convinced me to do this, or she whatever.
Yeah, she like basically colluded me to go and do this and trap me.
And for a second,
it was a trap.
Right. For a second, they looked like they were thinking about that for like what is that? Like, is that true? But then they kind of shrugged it off and
I'm going.
So then, because behind the glass, we've got her and the operator of this, whatever they call the mind flare device. Yeah, they called it something else, but
it was too technical for me to remember that.
So he just basically hits some buttons and turns a knob, and like you said, he looks like he's doing okay. And so she's talking to him like, and he says, "Shall we?" or whatever, like basically leave him. And she's like, "No, he's still a friend," and
wants to stay with him.
Of course, you can stay with him. So the other guy heads out, and she naturally cranks that knob up like to 11.
Yeah. Little scrambled eggs.
He is not. It goes from being seemingly okay to not having it, like not having a great time anymore. And then proceeds to eat one of those traveling biscuits, of course. And
yeah, she's definitely still evil.
I noticed. Yeah, there is. So this part. So the good mind flaying device, along with numbering the Amnesty members, like those couple of things makes me think like, oh yeah, maybe this is slightly better than the Empire, but like not all of their
same
tactics are great, which almost kind of reminds me of like concentration camps. This is all going back to like World War II now, but like
It's all based
or maybe the
kind of
Korean War or
off
something.
of that.
Like when we've had concentration camps, like even in the U.S.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
because we're not spoiler, not all good, certainly not, but we've done some regrettable shit also, but
Questionable things.
right. So but maybe they're in the right direction. They're making progress here. Maybe, hopefully they. But I mean, I think it's realistic. I think it's historical, and it's probably realistic to say it's not always roses and yeah. Well, what's the phrase?
I have no idea where you're going with
It's
that.
not all petunias and lavender. I have no idea what I'm saying. Don't listen to me. So then we are taken back to. Did we get a name of the planet that? I guess not, because it's meant to be secretive. We're back on the planet.
He just tells her that, or tells Bo-Katan that he's taking her to a Mandalorian covert or Mandalorian sanctuary or something. I don't know.
Shall we call this Act 3? Like, it was basically in 3 acts here, but we're back.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Act 1 and 2 or 1 and 3 are very short, and 3 is like huge.
We're back to Bo, Grogu, and Mando. The Adventures of Bo, Grogu, and Mando.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Mandalorian covert. Not to be confused with Convert, the name of the episode. Which I noticed. Can I just say real quick? I don't know if you noticed this. That for some reason they didn't have the episode named on Disney Plus for this one.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, which is why I had to wait until they actually showed. But maybe they didn't want to like spoil it that he was a convert now or something.
That's probably
even though
something
they show it right away. So I don't know if it might have just been a mistake, but yeah, because they showed the other 2 names. But anyway, they fly down. Both ships fly down on the planet where we had the giant killer croc attack earlier.
Episode 1.
No longer here, I guess, which is good. At least for now.
Well, they probably took it for like meat or something.
Yeah, they got a good
supply. It was dead.
Kind of like a crate worm or something. But
yeah, there you go.
Let's call back maybe to could be any number.
Or a sand whale.
Could be season 2 of Mandalorian. Could be talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi possibly. But did we establish that was a crate worm that he was working on? That he was packaging the meat of?
No, that was a sand whale. They called it
a sand whale. Sorry, that's hilarious, and I didn't know that was what it was, but I'm sure they said.
Yep.
I just don't remember that part. But
good old sand whales.
Oh, the sand whales. Like this time of year.
Just like the space octopus, you call them.
Space squid, yeah.
I guess it makes more sense than space whale because they do look like squids.
Yeah. So once they land on the planet, he tells her, or I guess it was before they actually landed. He's telling her to keep her helmet on because it'll go smoother, cause less issues. And they walk up to before the cave that they're hiding out in, and there's a group of other Mandalorians, and he talks to Paz, Vizsla, right? Descendant of Pre-Vizsla.
Pre-Vizsla, yeah.
Talks to him about being in the living waters, and he's not buying it at first. Like, that's impossible. Of course, this being Jon Favreau, right? At least the voice, because I don't know if he's in that suit. I doubt it. But
I don't think so. I think Jon Favreau's a little, not to be mean to him, but he's a little bit more, got a little bit more girth.
Pleasantly plump. He's not buying it, but he says he's got proof, so they take him to the armorer once again. And Paz Vizsla's like, Mando says he's got proof. And
they said Mando or didn't Djarin?
No,
Anyway,
I'm paraphrasing.
fair enough.
So she says, I'm just going to keep paraphrasing here. So like, all right, what the fuck do you have? Oh, oops, I swore.
Wow.
All right, just came
You
out. I'm
gotta,
sorry. I did it myself this time.
you gotta edit that out now.
Yeah, I know. PG-13, we're allowed one? No, probably not. All right,
I don't think
so
the F word applies.
yeah, it does.
I think
Right.
it's the S
You're
word that
right.
applies.
This is my own fault. I got to go back. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's fine. She says,
At least you know it's at the end.
that's true.
Close to it.
She says, show me the proof. And
he gives him gives her the proof.
hands her the vial that he got from water, and so she pours it into like a vat or a bird bath looking thing, I guess. Kind of
like where she cools down her.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Also, kind of reminds me of like what you put holy water in or something, but
She did that when she was making armor, so maybe that water has some kind of spiritual property to it for them.
right, yeah,
Because it makes that weird when you pour it, makes that water like glow a little bit.
Right, yeah. She poured it in and had like a bluish.
He has
ripple?
he has doused himself off his sins, and he will not burn in hell.
Exactly.
There is a hell. Or he won't be eaten by the mythosaur.
Right. So she says, "It is true. It's true." Something like that. And they're all like, "Oh, wow, great." And then they all kind of like, and then everyone's friends again. They all like, but then she proceeds to say, Bo-Katan, you are of Clan Kryze. You are also redeemed. She's like, what?
Because she asked. Well, because she went in the water and grabbed him, and I noticed that she didn't take her helmet off ever since she got out of that water the whole time.
She's like,
so she
technically, I guess I haven't.
It. Maybe, and that's again, she didn't disclose the mythosaur. Maybe there's a reason, because if you ride the mythosaur, you're basically like the Mandalorian ruler. That's like
if you
bad
come in contact with it, or
if you can ride it.
If you can ride it, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so cool. We're gonna see that this season, aren't we?
I hope.
Oh, it's definitely not the last we've seen of the mythosaur. Oh, Mithy, he'll be back.
The reason they showed that,
like Nessie
showed her. Come on, big Ness.
So yeah, she's kind of like, at first she's like, I don't, and then they're like, she's like, not sure.
I wanted to play have the song in the background. Welcome back. So they're all patting them on them. Yeah.
Actually, you could play the Golden Girls theme there, probably. Like, thank you for being a friend.
Oh yeah, you could.
Because they're like, at first she's like reluctant. I think obviously that she's probably quickly realizing that she doesn't have a home anymore, and that she the armor is also like, you can leave anytime. And until then you're one of us. And she's kind of like, oh, okay. Like, why not?
Works.
Because yeah, they're like patting each other on the shoulders and like shaking hands and stuff, and we're all friends now.
Yeah.
Very welcoming all of a sudden. And so then
everyone lived happily ever after. The end.
Yep. And then she kind of looks up at the mythosaur skull, or not, like, obviously not a life-size skull,
it's like a
skull or anything.
It's like a metal.
It's their emblem
symbol
on the wall there. Yeah, and focus on that. Of course, thinking back to what she saw,
and then done.
And then
there was no more. I give it a 4.5.
4.5. Not bad, not bad. I think I am going to go higher on this one. And I will say 4.25. 4.75. Because I thought it was pretty good. Thought it was pretty good.
It's good. It was pretty good.
Pretty good.
I still think the second episode was still the best so far.
Yeah, and that's fair. That gives us 4.625.
The Mythosaur.
4.5, 4.775, and a 4.625. So
woohoo! We're doing it.
Yeah, we rate these pretty high, don't we? But it's Star Wars. We love Star Wars. Yeah. So I suppose that'll about do it.
It's that time.
It's about that time. This is a longer episode also. But which made for a longer episode on here as well.
Had some good information in it.
Even without the recap of the entirety of The Mandalorian prior to this. She had left. 2 episodes ago, I guess. But
true.
Hey, thanks everyone for watching and listening. Thanks for hanging out. Why not as well? Thank you, Mike. Hey, if you want to write into, let us know your thoughts and opinions, you can do that at disnerdsplus@gmail.com. The website is disnerdsplus.com. We are currently recording Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Central at twitch.tv/ShaveMaddox. You can find Mike at CoolAsACucumber. You can find me at ShaveMaddox. And that will about do it for this evening.
Yeah.
Thanks again, everyone. And
thanks, guys.
Take care of yourselves. Bye now.
Later.
I think that's the first time I screwed up like that before.
Yeah.
On a podcast.
Okay.
It might be the first F-bomb I actually dropped on a podcast before.
I was like, wow, he just dropped the F-bomb.
Yep, that happened.
Hey, question. Do you use protein supplement?
No, I was using this amino build stuff for a while, but
well, I was asking because I got to stop taking this organic plant-based protein. Cause
is this stuff you can talk about on here? Just making sure.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
And I can't take it because of health reasons. Doctor said it has too much immune booster in it. So, do you want it? I just bought it. It's brand new. It's sealed, and I have no use for it now. And I can't return it because it's I guess you can't return protein like food stuff.
I don't think I need it. I don't know if I would take it right now. I could take a look at it and see if it was anything I was interested in, but
well, otherwise I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. I appreciate you.
Maybe I could give it
to mine though.
Maybe
we'll talk more.
Give it to Eric too.
Yeah, maybe.
Or I can give it. Well, maybe I can give it to Dave and Brittany. Brittany might use it.
Sure.
To ask her. Because I couldn't cancel it in time, and then my doctor's like, yeah, you shouldn't have that. Because I was like, why is certain things being like issues lately?
Oh.
And I noticed I've been having that, and I just learned today there's a few things I shouldn't be taking, and I'm like, oh, okay, well. And considering like athletic greens, that's a no. Can't have that anymore.
Athletic
if I wanted to.
Greens?
Yeah, it's like a supplement. It's like powder you put in. It's a green drink. It has a bunch of things in it. Good stuff.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah. Anyway.
Yep. I gotta figure out a sound effect to put in to bleep Think of something.
Just put R2.
I thought about that. I don't know if I can relate it more to the Mandalorian though. Like, this is the way.
Oh, yeah.
Something.
Just have him say, "This is the way," in the background.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. But
or you go like make a gurgoo noise that he makes.
Yeah.
So yeah, wanted that. At least it's only once.
Huh?
At least it was only once.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, I suppose we will.
All right, dude.
See ya Friday.
Friday morning. I'm gonna just drive up to the coop, and then you guys want to drive back with me, and then walk from there.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, I don't really need to walk there, and I'm like, fuck that.
It's okay. We're not on the podcast anymore.
Okay, I was like, God dang, I said it.
I already can't edit mine out of here. So at this point, fuck it.
All right, dude.
All right. Have a great night. All right. I'll let you go. Bye now. Thanks, everyone.